Hey y'all, Pup Copper here. Today we're going to review kind of what not to do in Satisfactory, but you'll probably end up doing anyway on your first game. Because the other day, I just out of morbid curiosity, I went in and looked at my first save, the last save from my first ever game, which is in the green fields, green hills, green something or other biome. It's the first starter biome that you're encouraged to start in to figure out the game, and according to the save file, I have like 45 hours in this, and yeah, when I come back and look at this is an absolute mess. By the way, if you want to see how to do things right, don't forget to paw that subscribe button and boop that like button so you can see more videos from me, Pup Copper. So anyways, let's take a look. So the first thing I'm going to point out that I didn't know what to do when I was building was just how to lay out everything nicely. I just kind of made it a hodgepodge of stuff as I needed it, and I put down some foundations at one point thinking, okay, maybe this will do something, and yeah, this is just a mess. I mean, this is not very... I've kind of gone through and just kind of randomly checked a couple of machines before my power grid blew, and this setup is not very efficient. I'm kind of ashamed to even show you my coal setup over there. It's awful. It is just awful. I mean, yeah, look at this. Now, to be fair to myself, though, you will do this in your first game, even if you desperately try not to, and you watch all the videos on how to, build properly in Satisfactory from the get-go, especially if you're a newbie. You will do this. I've done it. Kibitz has done it. Total Eclipse has done it. Drawing Chaos has done it. It happens. And one of the best things you can do later on in the game is kind of either retool your starter factory to be nicer, to look nicer and be more efficient, or you just tear it down and consolidate into a mega base. Kind of like what Kibitz has done. Now, I'm starting to take more of the approach of I keep my starter factories around. I clean up my starter factories and then keep them around to produce like a bunch of basic parts, so I can go and do other stuff without having production, supply interruptions. But yeah. So speaking of layouts and efficiency, one thing I didn't realize how to do when I first started this was how to balance my production lines and how to properly balance things, because you can just see all of the backed up iron ingots here. It's just a mess, and then I've got this storage container here hoping to buffer. It's a mess. I have parts scattered everywhere. So I have this over here. I think that's rotors up there, and then below it's reinforced plates. But the rotors come from all the way over there or something. There's some motors and versatile frameworks, and then steel is over there. Steel stuff is over there. It's a mess. I don't know how I made it into tiers 5 and 6 in this game, in this playthrough. I don't know. I mean, things don't split properly. It's not balanced. I've got copper feeding wire lines, and this wire just kind of dead ends into storage containers and a cable line. I don't know. This is just awful. It's awful. This is just awful. I mean, I did figure out how to do a couple things right, like putting a dump bin on this awesome sink, and eventually figuring out how to use a merger and splitter and stuff. But this is just awful, and I never bothered cleaning it up. I think that was the primary reason why I just did a new save in the Rocky Desert. Because I just got to a point in here where I was like, ugh, this is a mess. I'm not dealing with this. Because it would take so much work to clean it up. And yeah, I mean, look, I've got a bin full of screws that's supposed to... so I'm overproducing screws. I don't know what my intent was with that. I don't know. At least I had some forethought to buffer it. This is... yeah, and look at this. This is just a mess of stuff here. This is just awful. Awful, awful, awful. And I should note, this is pre-update 4, so I think I started playing right after update 3 launched, because that was what kind of the fluid mechanics is what really sold me on getting into Satisfactory and encouraged me to make the jump into this. Yeah, so here's another example of just really poor planning and layouts. So I have coal coming up from the little lagoon over there, where, by the way, I'm also using it for power, so I'm doing some really weird splitting over there. But yeah, it comes up that little incline that's over there by the lagoon, and it comes up over and it drops down into here somewhere, I think over there. And then I'm pulling a bunch of impure iron nodes here. Those are feeding a bunch of smelters. I don't think this system is balanced in the slightest. Also, the coal, I think, is either a 60 or 120 line, but I'm using a Mark 160 line to pull all of it over. So this is just a nightmare. And look at this. To help smooth out my coal, I'm processing bio coal out of wood and leaves and junk. This is just a mess. I'm surprised that I was able to get all the steel parts I needed to unlock the last space elevator tier. But yeah, this is somehow working and producing a bunch of auto wire and and steel beams to go down to my versatile framework over there. And yeah, it's a mess. It is an absolute mess. Now, at least by the time I had gotten to steel, I had figured out the next point here: that using foundations helps your factory layout significantly. I mean, look how relatively nice this layout is compared to what we saw back kind of at the main base area. That is just a bunch of machinery on the ground in the filthy dirt. Here, I at least have made somewhat of an effort to use foundations, even if, you know, part of this second floor is just kind of hanging in the air with no supports or anything. So, yeah. This is just a mess. This is just a mess. If there was a way that I could just blow all this up and start again without, you know, getting the resources back, I probably just would. Yeah. I mean, here at least, what am I producing? Oh yeah, I'm producing a bunch of wire for my auto wire. Yeah, so at least I kind of did a little bit of that, and that's cable. It gets merged and brought down, and yeah, it's just this. This is just a really poor layout. I'm not even doing anything like consolidating resources from other nodes. I'm not. I mean, there's a pure coal node like down there that would be much better to use for steel production. Heck, that area down there by that pure coal node is actually a lot better because you've got a bunch of impure iron nodes. So if you overclock that coal node on a Mark II miner, and then you use enough of the impure nodes to get 270 iron a minute, you can run 6 foundries off that and produce a lot of steel parts, and then just truck that back. But no, I had to go this long convoluted route because I didn't know what I was doing. I think I've got Caterium production down there too, that I haven't like done anything to bring back to a centralized base or integrated into my production lines. This is just a mess. And what is this? I have just random copper sheet production over here. Why? Why did I not finish this? This is awful. Okay, let's take a quick look at the power grid and see. Wow, we just had like a massive fall off in power. That's one thing I certainly didn't do. I didn't like really build a lot of excess capacity into my power infrastructure here. Let's go and see exactly what's going on with my coal plants, because I think that's going to be another mess that I didn't plan out. Which leads me to my next point. Plan your power grid and plan it with excess capacity. Actually, there are several points here which are kind of now best practices for me. One, actually plan out your power grid and make sure. Then two, plan out your excess capacity, or like a significant margin of excess capacity, so you don't have problems like this. And three, leave a couple of power plants on your grid separate to power like extraction buildings, like water extractors or miners. I don't know what happened here. Oh my gosh. Just look at the mess here. Can I restart this? Okay. Some reason. Alright. Why are we not even getting... Yeah, look at how much of a mess this is. I had no idea how to properly use fluids in this game when I first started. I mean, wow. I mean, yes, an overflow method is not a bad way to do this, but there are better ways to set all this up. There are so many better ways to do this. I mean, look at how awful this extractor setup is, and I have just like random pumps. This is in like this is just awful. This is just awful. Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is bad. This is bad, y'all. This... But then again, I need to be gentler on myself because I had no idea what I was doing. Oh yeah, this is the giant belt line that goes over to my steel production I was telling you about. Yeah, this is just nuts. I'm doing this. Now, to be fair, you cannot easily bring vehicles down this ramp. I tried that and I think got one submerged in here, and it was difficult getting the crate out. But yeah, and there it goes up the cliff and goes over to my steel production. Yeah, it's just there are other things I could be doing with that coal down here in the lagoon, like power generation. And yeah. So yeah. Power planning just kind of goes hand in hand with not planning for an efficient layout. Another thing I didn't do was, you'll notice that if you look at like the Satisfactory calculator website, I'm mostly only extracting like the impure and normal nodes on here, and not even random thing I didn't collect. And I'm not like doing a whole lot with higher quality nodes. Now, admittedly, there are not all that many pure nodes in the green hills or whatever this is called, but I could have put outposts in areas with better nodes. Like in that direction down towards the beach, there is a like 4 pure iron nodes and 1 pure copper node. So yeah, that could have been a thing. And yeah, there are just a bunch of other things I could have done here to make... Oh, did I overclock that foundry? Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. This is just awful. This is awful. This is just awful, guys. This is just awful. And I don't think I even have oil production set up. I'm glad I didn't set it up, though, because I would have probably just made an absolute mess. At least I don't think I have oil set up. I'm pretty sure I don't. But yeah. This is awful. This is awful. I mean, I love Satisfactory, but I just kind of cringe now at all this. And there my power grid went again. But I just cringe at everything I did wrong in this first game. So, yet, I managed to make a reasonable amount of progress. Oh, I think I know why it's having problems with the power grid. It's because Update 4 adjusted the inventory stacks for certain things, so where I may have just kept building after certain inventories were full, like concrete, for example, I didn't realize that there were full inventories, and that all these machines would turn on after a while when loading in Update 4. So there you go. That's another lesson. But yeah, this is it. This is it. This is a mess. And, you know, the spaghetti is inevitable in your first game, and it just gets iteratively better. Although, I think I and a lot of other players will admit that when you get into upper tier, when you get more experience with Satisfactory, you'll be better at the lower tiers, but you'll still wind up with a lot of spaghetti in the upper tiers. You'll know enough to make it be nice looking spaghetti, but you're gonna have like conveyor walls and things like that you're just bringing bulk resources in. Yeah, you can never get away from the spaghetti. You can never get away from the spaghetti. So yeah, if there's advice I can offer to you and things to look for as you watch my videos or the videos of other Satisfactory players, it's, you know, pay attention to how factories are being organized, how they're being laid out. One thing I certainly didn't do here was I did not lay out my factory in any organized manner or with an eye towards future production. I do that now. But yeah, I didn't have any forethought in this, and you know, that's kind of I think that's one of the things that that if you do learn how to do it, that will set you up for success later on in the game, because then you won't be, you know, trying to figure out where is this part, why is this backing up. You know, you'll have everything balanced from the get-go. You'll have everything planned out to advance to Mark II miners and all that good stuff. So yeah, Satisfactory is a game that's fun to play, but it does have a reasonably steep learning curve. But if you can get over that learning curve, you'll have all the keys to the kingdom, and you'll be able to make some really nice looking factories and some really awesome looking stuff. So yeah, that's it for today. This is just a short little video, kind of a little overview of all the mistakes I made that hopefully you can avoid if you're watching this and learning from it. And yeah, but at the same time, you know, it works. I mean, it's not pretty, it's not efficient, but it kind of works, and it did stuff. It got me reasonably far along, so yeah. It is what it is. Well, until next time, pups, boop that like button and paw that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more videos from me, Pup Copper. Arroo!